Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am the stepson of Krypton,
And I'm Mantis.
and today we wrap up our discussion series on Fallout on Amazon Prime. Mantis,
Yes.
before we get into the discussion, what have you thought so far?
Well, yeah. I texted this to you yesterday because I had finished up, like you were saying, these are the last two episodes, 7 and 8. And it was a great series. Excuse me. It was a great series. In fact, like I said to you, I think it may be the best one that they have on Amazon Prime. Maybe biased there, but I really enjoyed it for sure.
Well, we're not going to waste any more time. We're going to go ahead and get on into the discussion and find out why he enjoyed it so much. So, if you guys are ready, let's go.
How many hearts have you broken with those great big...
All right, guys. So, Fallout episode 7 and 8. So, episode 7, the radio. Who needs a radio?
Radio? Who needs a radio? Ready, Harry?
That's what I thought too when I saw
Ready,
it.
Mantis?
But the funny thing is, it's radio. It's the radio, right? Well, so the music at the beginning of this episode is from Fallout 4, the game. So I enjoyed that little Easter egg that they threw in there. The dun, 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 main theme song for Fallout 4 is in there. Pretty cool stuff. Yeah, and then we talked about this before. Like, I don't want to get into a play-by-play of what happened in the episode, so I'm just gonna kind of talk about the stuff I liked about it. Eric Estrada's in this, which when he walks into the room with Cooper in there, I was like, that guy looks so familiar. And fun tip, everyone: if you watch this on your computer, like I do, if you hover your mouse over the screen, it will show you the actors and actresses that are in the scene that you're watching. So, fun fact there.
It does it on the TV too, but I don't. If you're talking about just
Oh, it
computer.
does?
Yeah, like so. If I
didn't know.
hit up on my remote, like on the actual directional pad
Oh,
on the
okay.
remote, it'll pop up who's on the screen and give the names and a little bit of information.
Gotcha.
So that's
Yeah,
that's an Amazon feature.
Yeah, I was like, who is that guy? And I'm like, oh yeah, it's Eric Estrada. Okay. I was like, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that whole scene there, man, he was just wanting to give Cooper whatever he wanted and left. I'm assuming they knew each other, like or knew of each other. So clearly, I think everyone knows who Cooper is. That was apparent earlier in the episode as well when he was talking to the presidente of the government of the wasteland, which is hilarious because it's just factions. There's factions here, factions there, right? Which we will get into later in the discussion as well. But yeah, totally blew that kid away. You could tell he didn't really want to, but also that he just didn't care one way. If he had to do it, he's just going to do it. Like, that's just going to be the end of it. Blew the kid away. Luckily, he didn't kill the girl or eat her because it was kind of implied that he was eating her. When Eric Estrada's character walked into that room, it was kind of funny. So, but yeah, it I guess this episode too, the concept about Vault-Tec buying unlimited energy, because you find out that the thing inside of the head that everyone's wanting is called fusion. So finding that out, you see why everyone wants that, right? Because in an age where before the nukes started dropping, energy was very prevalent, because of nuclear fission. But it's actually funny because I wrote this. I'm like, and then this is me putting on my conspiracy theory hat, is the cure for cancer, water, or cars that run on water. These things, I believe, have already been invented, and these companies buy the tech and then lock it in a vault because they can't make money from it. And that's essentially what Vault-Tec did, right, with that. They knew it existed, they bought it, and then locked it away so that no one else could use it.
If you ever, a little quick side note, if you ever watched the animated movie, Superman Doomsday movie, they even say the lab's come up with the cure for cancer. and it's just a one-time pill or whatever. And he said, "All right, get the boys to make it into a lifetime treatment."
Yeah.
Right.
I can cure every known case with a simple inoculation. Have Swan find a way to slow it to a crawl, turn it into a lifetime treatment program.
So
Yeah.
that way they make more money on it.
It's like, yeah, exactly. Like I mean, that's, and you kind of figure that's the theme of the rest of this. And again, we'll get into especially episode 8, because you find out real backstory about Vault Tech. What's the other ones? Robco. What's the other one that's Weck? Is it Weck Tech? I forget
I know, I think it is, but you know me and pronunciation of things. I'm just a simple man.
Yeah.
I always say I'm wrong, but yeah,
those
I know,
are all in the game too. Like all of those companies are from the game. Like they're not making that up. Like it is from the game. So, but anyway, we'll get back to that. But one thing too is like, dude, Thaddeus is a fucking asshole. Like, I don't like that guy, and mainly because he put dog meat in the cooler.
Jeopardizing it. It's bigger than you. It's bigger than all of us.
Okay, first off, because it happens at the end of the episode, but since we're just kind of doing an overall of it, like, I called him dog meat from the beginning, and then I'm like, dude, and he granted he does check to see if he can breathe, but I'm like, what the hell are you putting dog meat in a cooler for? But then when Cooper comes and gets him, he calls him dog meat, and I was like, so
does he?
Yeah, he calls him dog meat.
I'm sorry, dog meat, but you ain't him.
He did. Oh, I didn't hear.
Yeah, he actually says dog meat. So I was like, it is dog meat. I love that.
I like it. God. Yeah. And then another funny part that I thought was hilarious was when they sentence Lucy to death.
Goosey.
Like, Goosey. As old one-eye Cyclops would put it. But they've got her on the stand, right? And like they've got the ceremonial fucking like not samurai, sort of looks more like it's like on the ceremonial stand, and he comes over and we sentence you to death by banishment to the surface.
The surface!
And then he's just like trying to fucking solve the thing. He's like, hold on, this thing's taking forever. Then he's like, finally gets, he's like, get that sharpened. It's like, what is happening here? And then they're like, and as customary, here's 2 weeks of food and supplies. And she's like, thanks.
I like she goes to ask a question, goes, yes, we'll have somebody carry the supplies up for you. It's like, they're so nice.
Right.
It's so weird because they took it in a way of like, you thought that things were going really weird and these were like demon type people and they were doing mutations on. They're like the nicest people. They are a bit cultist, but technically most of that's the surface dwellers, right?
Yeah, not
the surface dwellers. The actual vault people who were in the vaults.
Yes.
They're really nice, but the occultist people still are too. But yeah, they're like, yes, we'll get somebody to take the supplies up there for you.
Yeah.
I love that.
That right before that, when they show Lucy the video from the very beginning of, when they got in the vaults of Hawthorne, who again sounded so familiar, but you find out that they're not actually getting mutations from putting the radiated ash on their foreheads. They're the experiments essentially of everything down there. So that kind of blew a hole in my theory there. So, but you do find the truth there. So that was kind of interesting, kind of tying up that little narrative of the show for this season. And again, that kind of the whole thing, 2 weeks of supplies was a great joke. The whole episode was great. Like the comedic relief, in this series is so good.
Well, because Maximus goes and steals the fusion core, powers up the armor, like throws you see the Nuka-Cola machine, which I love that, right? And then he chucks a couple of guys, and then come to find out that she's fine. He's like, you might want to check on them, like,
Sorry. Somebody maybe check on him.
And then at the end, Lucy Goosey's humanity comes back or still is there, where she's like, you got to give them their fusion core back. That's because they just accept that, we only have a couple of days of of power and breathable air. It's like, without the fusion core, that was their backup.
Yeah. So you're right. He does kind of, I think she convinces him, he was going to leave and not think twice about it.
And that's what, like, I don't like his character, right? I don't think he's a good guy. I feel like he's completely out for himself. In my personal opinion, right, guys? Hey, let me know down in the comments if you agree. If you disagree, you don't gotta be horrible about it, but if you are, hey, it's fine. But like, if you look at everything he's done thus far since going out in the wasteland, like, I don't think he's a good character. Like, I don't think he's a good guy.
I don't know. I mean, I think his character's kind of grown a little bit. He's still very unsure about what's going on. That point was the first time anyone has kissed him. So of course he's love drunk. He's going to do whatever she tells him to do at that point. So,
dude, she wanted to have sex with you. I mean,
well, again, he doesn't. Sex is different, in the wasteland or even in the vaults, like, clearly. So it, the whole affection is not a thing that he's allowed to do in the Brotherhood. They're not even allowed to beat off, clearly. So, because it's bad, it just gets big and pops. So, the snake oil salesman, I didn't know what to make of that with Thaddeus, because his foot was dangling or whatever, and then old Tweaky there opened up the roadshow and gave him some stem or some serum or something. I thought he was turned into a super mutant. Of course, later on in that episode, you find out that he is not. He's just he's a ghoul or whatever. But and maybe you can shed some light on this as far as how the lore in the game goes with that. I know you can get mutations from serums in the game, but I don't like becoming a ghoul is more of a radiation thing, right?
Yes, it's a radiation thing. However, like, in the games, you yourself can't become a ghoul. You just have mutations and things like that. But you do see other NPCs become a ghoul from that, right? Where they go into they're like kind of in the mid phase, almost similar to like when they go feral, but it's like as they're starting to become a ghoul.
Yeah.
But to kind of wrap up this episode here on it, like, Thaddeus is terrible. Anybody just with the Brotherhood right now, I just don't think is great. Like, they don't portray the Brotherhood very well. I mean, they do, but I mean, like, they don't make them out in a good light in this series, right? Because all of them just seem terrible.
They're a cult, and they're trying to fucking. I mean, they destroy everyone.
Yeah, they want the technology for themselves. I'm just saying, like, they really point that out, right? So it's definitely shown that they're not that good and can't shoot apparently either, because Thaddeus just is like, it reminded me of Pulp Fiction when he unloads and then they look and they're just like,
oh yeah,
die, you motherfucker!
Yeah, this is the I didn't even think about this till you mentioned it, but the whole white man bad trope is totally in this show, especially with the dichotomy of the Brotherhood, who has the old white guy as the evil leader of the Brotherhood, and then you have the lady that leads the nice people that just want to have a home and whatnot, right? Like, this dichotomy is who could have seen it coming, So yeah. Anyway, the last thing in that episode was funny was they had the kiss. They kissed, and then the heads were kissing the one she was carrying, and the fake one he was. Yeah, I thought that was funny. So anyway, Fred Armisen was in there too. He was the guy that was the at the radio station.
Yeah, which I like the traps.
Dude.
They had the traps that you normally run into in the game.
Yeah.
So episode 8, last episode of the season, which from my understanding, it's already been picked up for a second season. So we're going to get more.
I think it did. As soon as it was, I think as soon as it premiered, they greenlit the second season on it. So this episode may be my favorite one, mainly because it has kind of everything in there. And I'm just going to bounce around in here. I'm not going to go in order of what happens in the episode, but overall, there's like, firefights. You get to see the weapons that they're using, the automatic rifles, the Gauss rifles that the power armor guys are using, or assault rifles.
Till you say you're mine, oh darling, please be mine. And make
they sound just like from the game, like the rifles that the Raiders are using. Look, I could have swore I saw a pipe gun in there somewhere. I wrote that down, but maybe
there was a pipe pistol in there.
There was, okay.
There was a pipe pistol.
So they had a pipe pistol. Again, what you find out, this episode is basically about the reveal, right? This episode is revealing who Henry is, what the vaults are about, the actual 31 is about, what's going on there. You find out. I mean, I'll just say it. You find out that it's really cryo. Vault 31 is all of the management from Vault Tech. They got frozen, well, not all of them, but some of them.
A good chunk of them. That's a pretty big vault chunk, when you look back.
And they're rigging the system, right? They're rigging the system. They're rigging they're the ones who get effectively put in leadership positions.
They become the overseers.
Yes.
That's why they have the slogan, when things look glum, vote for somebody from Vault 31, because it's all management. Yes. Vault Tech
exactly.
Management.
And their whole thing is, right, they wanted to, you also find out, because this is where I was mentioning the other companies, right? You find out that because Cooper couldn't help himself and kind of did some James Bondy shit in Vault Tech and kind of listened in on his wife in this meeting. Which, by the way, you find out that Cooper, when he finds out what his wife is really doing, who, she cares for him and cares for their daughter, but he's not like that. He's not naive, I guess, but he was so in love with his wife and wanted to believe his wife was such a good person that when he found out that she was okay with what they were going to do and was okay with, well, yeah, I mean, she straight up says it right in that scene about dropping the bombs. We'll drop the bombs, right? Like, they know what they're doing. They're engineering the end of the world. And again, the whole time thing, outlasting all your competition, is the whole point of the vaults. And each of these companies get to play out their own little experiments in the 100 vaults that are all over the U.S. So
I thought it was interesting for them to show that hey, and you kind of now understand why all of them are running these crazy experiments, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, if you remember when they went in like the third, fourth episode, when Norm and Chet went into Vault 32, there was in blood, it said death to management, right? You find out, well, that's the Vault Tech Management that they'd been, again, they had been doing these things. And, we meet the Roomba with a brain.
Brain, which, that's side thing, that's actually the name of the character in the credits too, by the way. It says brain on a Roomba.
Well, because, I mean, he was, and he even went back into his charging station just like a Roomba. Again, that's all he was.
Comedy is all through there, right?
When he's trying to stick him with the needle, and he's like, come here. That was hilarious. I mean, I was dying laughing the whole time, because it's completely ridiculous, but it worked. It was funny.
It's in the vein. Again, if you played the games, like some of the things that the robots say, and even like Mr. What was it, Mr. Snippy or Snippy or whatever it was from earlier in the series that was going to cut up, Lucy.
Snip or whatever, yeah.
Snip, right? Like, it was the same thing. This won't hurt a bit. Like, they're just fucking creepy funny, like, in the way. I don't know.
But just like the game, so that was great.
Yes. Yeah, that part was funny. I guess some of the bad things, especially in this, that I noticed as well, the scene where you get to see the big reveal that Hank is actually really young. Obviously, uh, he was from before the bombs dropped. The de-aging on him was fucking bad. I think I did not think that was very good. Um, but what are you gonna do? I don't think they did anything to Cooper in there. I could be wrong. Or Walton Goggins Walton Goggin. I don't think they de-aged him. But what's his face? I forget the actor's name that plays Hank. But that was not good in my opinion. Yeah, and this episode again is just a big, massive info dump. Most of it. There at the end, you do get the clash, the scene, the fight scene between the Brotherhood and the Raiders or Rebels, whatever you want to call them. They're Raiders. Up at the observatory is excellent. One thing I noted was the time frame because they're up there for a while. When Lucy first arrives, it's kind of around like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, maybe 7 o'clock, right? And then a lot of shows don't pay attention to details on the lighting. They'll kind of just go from it's bright outside to it's dark, and they just literally walked inside, right? But that's not what happened in this. There is a gradual tonal shift, not only in the light that's outside, but also when Lucy starts to find out what's actually going on, it starts to get darker, right? Outside, it starts to get darker. And then, at the very end, you find out who the ghoul is that's sitting there with them, which is Rose, another character from Fallout 76, by the way, is Rose. But you find out that's Lucy's mom, sitting there, and like her whole world is just blown up because this whole trek, right, is her trying to save her dad. And imagine you get there at the end and you find out what a horrible person that your father is.
Well, because I think another real quick, because I know we're running along on this. So another big thing about that is you find out that they are also still responsible for what happened to Shady Sands and why it was a big smoldering crater was because when life tried to start over again, they put a stop to it. So you find out that her dad is directly responsible for Shady Sands and what happened with Maximus.
Not only did he was a head of Vault-Tec and engineer the end of the world, essentially. But he also then blew up, and you get to see what Shady Sands looked like, where they were trying to repopulate the area. It looked, for a post-apocalyptic wasteland, it looked pretty good. They had running trains and,
Her dad is basically the emperor. Right?
Yeah, essentially.
He just blew up Alderaan.
Right? She was remembering those visions of her mom and her brother.
Yeah, because they said that their mom ran off with them and took them to the surface. So she has been on the surface. Yeah. Definitely interested. And then, of course, she fucking busted a cap right in her mom. Put her out of her misery, right? That was...
Yeah,
you had to, it was... She's got her skull is showing and there's a big hole there. It's not like you're ever going to go on a mother-daughter
nothing else
picnic.
in there. There's nothing else going on upstairs. It was like, it was just kind of growling.
But you kind of get that Goosey and Cooper's goals kind of align now, right?
And now they do.
They've been kind of back and forth with each other. They've had a very interesting relationship throughout the whole series. But now it's kind of like Cooper's like, hey, I'm going to go find my wife and daughter. You want answers because the dad leaves in the power armor that he just bitch smacked Maximus, right?
What is the 5 fingers say to the face? What? Slap!
And he's left him for dead. And that's kind of where it leaves off. Damn good episode, damn good series.
Yeah, I liked the Cold Fusion lit up the rest of LA or Hollywood there in North LA, I guess. And yeah, so I was watching through at the very end. I didn't know who was in the power suit because I'd seen that scene, the ending scene before, just that 3 seconds of the power suit. Looking at this city. I didn't know who was in it. I thought it was maybe Maximus or something. And then when you watch it, you're like, oh shit, that's Hank. And then if you keep watching it, you see a New Vegas sign in the credits. So I'm assuming they're going to go into New Vegas, which is awesome because aside from, I mean, I do like 4, but New Vegas is so good. New Vegas is such a great game. And I'm excited. Season 2 is going to be New Vegas. That's going to be awesome.
That will be awesome. And then I don't know if you want to try to do season 3 for 76 or what have you, because all the games take places in different locations, right? So you're going to be kind of like with Amazon Prime. If you've watched real quick, and this is final thoughts on it, if you've watched the Reacher series, they're going off of the books that were written where you're introducing brand new characters each season because it's a different book. So it'd kind of be cool if they're doing it off the games. And this one seems heavily inspired by 4, then maybe you'll go do New Vegas. Maybe we even go back to 3, whatever. I mean, you could do that and it would work and it would still all tie in together.
Yeah, because 3 was in DC, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was in DC. So
yes.
I don't know how you would do a cross country thing. You'd have to have new characters, or you'd have to split it up, right? Like you'd have to do.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You're gonna have different characters.
You could do. Yeah. You'd have to do. Yeah. But no, this. If you haven't seen this, and I'm assuming you have because you're watching this, but you go watch it. My dad, I was just talking to him earlier today, and I had mentioned it to him a couple weeks ago that he needed to start watching it. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I finished up Fallout." He was like, "Oh, it was real good." He's like, "But they missed this part about so and so," and I'm like, "What are you talking about? You didn't play the games?" And he's like, "Well, I watched people played it, And he was pointing out all the stuff that was from the game and stuff, and I'm like, "Okay, whatever." But it's great. It's a great series. Like I said before, maybe the best on Amazon Prime. I really, really enjoyed it.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap it up for our discussion of the Fallout series. Hopefully we will not have to wait 2 years for the second season to come out, and Goosey is now completely changed. But if you've made it with us this far, we definitely appreciate it. Consider giving this video a like, subscribing to the channel so you get more of all of the other content that we've got coming out, and commenting down below and let us know what you thought about the series. As well, we do appreciate everybody who's been commenting here recently on our videos and our newer subscribers, as well as everybody who continues to be subscribed. So thank you for that.
Yeah, keep up the interaction. We like the engagement. With this, did you like the series? And what was your favorite part in it? Let us know.
Dog meat. All right, guys.
The saving of dog meat.
Yeah, the saving of it. At least Coop, because you see the flash of his old dog. So at least Coop got dog meat out of the fucking Nuka-Cola cooler.
Yeah.
All right, guys. That's going to wrap it up here. We will see you on the next one.
Later.